Krishna Hare Krishna. So welcome to today's Bhagavad Gita class. Today we're going to be reading from chapter 11, text number 14, the Universal Force. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Jabihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Thank you. So today we're reading from chapter 11, text number 14. Om Jnana Timyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Jakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutaye Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prastyatya Desatarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And before again speaking, I'd like to seek your blessings, and also to those who are online, that I may be able to speak something worthwhile. Vanja kalpa tarubhascha kripa sindhu bhevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we're reading from text number 14, and the Sanskrit is on the TV there. Tata Shri Vishma Yavisto Rista Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Shirasta Devam Kritanjalirabhasata Tatasa Vismaya Visto Rista Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Sirasa Devam Kritanjalirabhasata Tatasa Vismaya Visto Rista Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Sirasa Devam Kritanjalirabhasata. Would anyone like to try the recitation? The Sanskrit. Tatasa Vismaya Visto Rista Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Sirasa Devam Kritanjalirabhasata. Okay. Would anyone else like to try? Okay. Okay. Tatasa Vismaya Visto Rista Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Sirasa Devam Kritanjalirabhasata. And the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. And purport. Once a divine vision is revealed, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna changes immediately. Before, Krishna and Arjuna had a relationship based on friendship. But here, after the revelation, Arjuna is offering obeisances with great respect, and with folded hands, he is praying to Krishna. Krishna is praising the universal form. Thus Arjuna's relationship becomes one of wonder rather than friendship. Great devotees see Krishna as the reservoir of all relationships. In the scriptures, there are 12 basic kinds of relationships mentioned, and all of them are present in Krishna. It is said that he is the ocean of all the relationships exchanged between two living entities, between the gods or between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Here, Arjuna was inspired by the relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm and quiet, he became ecstatic. His hair stood up and began to offer his obeisances unto the Supreme Lord with folded hands. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of the Supreme Lord. The immediate context is wonder. His natural loving friendship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So here we see the Arjuna is actually he's got this revelation of the universal form. So Krishna, based on Arjuna's initial inquiry, has thus revealed this actual form. Arjuna, as we discussed in the previous texts, he actually asked if he could actually see this form, just because he wanted the actual everyone to actually to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So this is something that we actually discussed previously. If someone claims to be God, they have to have some credentials. So one of the credentials is this actual universal form. There may be, as Shri Prabhupada said, in India, you'll find the Supreme Person on every street corner. I'm not sure if it's the same now as it was, but I think since Krishna consciousness has become more, since the last 50 years, become more popular, and has actually there's less people who claim to be the Supreme Lord in that sense. So this is actually very much a change of relationship. We can see that previously Arjuna did accept Krishna as his spiritual master. Kapranya doso pahata svabhava prajamicham. That basically Arjuna said, now I am confused and bewildered, and I've lost all sense of direction. So he actually, in that condition of bewilderment, he decided to actually surrender unto Krishna. And that was a change in relationship. But here it really strikes home for Arjuna just exactly who Krishna is. And this because Arjuna, he still had this friendly relationship, and that's simply what he was actually, how he was used to with his friend. So Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki. So naturally, as Krishna is the Supreme Lord, there's different rasas. So naturally, there's these different rasas are different ways in which we can actually have our eternal relationship with the Supreme. So there's 12 rasas altogether. 5 are primary and 7 are secondary. And as is mentioned here, that actually Krishna, he's the ocean of all rasas. So every relationship in its most authentic form can be fulfilled in relation with Krishna. And that's why ultimately what we have to aim for, to actually develop that innate love for the Lord. So there's the 5 primary rasas. One is neutrality, and then ones are more directly in service. There's servitude, friendship, paternal, and then as conjugal love. So these are the actual the relationships. But in this material world, we have to learn. It's a tricky learning. It's a tricky learning ground in this material world, that we have to learn how to actually to love Krishna ultimately. We have to learn how to love others as well, because Mame Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, that naturally we're all Krishna's parts and parcels. And that can be easier said than done. So one thing which has helped me, and which I'm trying to actually implement also, is that to become more like B, and that's what's recommended. I know for myself, naturally we can see we can look for the negative in things rather than the positive. So in order to actually to chant the holy name of the Lord, in the Shishastakam prayers, it's recommended Trinadapi Sunishena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Madadena Kirtinira Sadahari. So one should offer all respects to others, and one should think oneself lowered in the grass in the street, or straw in the street, and lowered in the grass and more tolerant in a tree. So trying to actually implement this, then we can actually to show all respects to others, we have to be like a bee, and to look for the nectar. So this is how we can actually live coherently and harmoniously with others. There's a few quotes I have here as well, which are interesting also, and these are from the mostly from the Mahabharata. So this is entitled "The Critics Take the Karma." So the first verse is Tadvasadva parivado brahmanasya nahasyate narakapra titistate vesurya evam kurvate jana. True or false, speaking ill of others is not proper for a brahmana. People who do this have hell for their abode. And in brackets, i.e., they're already living in hell. So it's always good to look on the bright side, to see the good in others, to be like, to look for the positive, then naturally will become more positive. And the next verse, I'll just read the translation. The ignorant seek to injure the wise by malice and backbiting. By doing so, the critic takes upon himself the load of the wise man's sins, which he, the wise man, casts off by forgiving the ignorant. So in terms of being more tolerant, it's always good to actually, to have that forgiving nature. But then again, we don't. There's this saying that we use in English, for goodness sake, we might say sometimes, but ultimately, to do what's right, and we don't want other people just to take sins, but if the scriptures recommend that we be more tolerant than a tree, and ultimately that's what it's about, to try and actually please the Lord, and in terms of trying to actually cultivate that tolerance by our own example, then we can actually be of an inspiration to others. A person being criticized should not retaliate, in brackets, literally should not criticize, for if endured, the pain felt upon receiving such criticisms will itself consume the critic and seize the results of his good deeds, and then in brackets, which in turn go to the one who tolerated the criticisms. So it's not that we don't want the critic just to suffer, but in this scenario we can only do what's right and what's best, which is to tolerate and have compassion on them. That was a conversation between Dattatreya and the Sadyas. So Yudhisthira inquired, what should a learned person who is gentle in nature do when publicly insulted by the harsh words of an arrogant fool? And then the next one, listen, O king, to how this topic is generally described. In this world, a wise man should always be tolerant of an ignorant person. And one who remains tolerant, not becoming angry, certainly attains the abuser's pious credits. Indeed, his own sins are transferred to that wrathful person. And also, one should always tolerate whatever a foolish person says. After all, what is the value of praise or blame when uttered by a vulgar fool? Such a person is simply cawing like a crow in the forest. And the final one, a person who praises someone in his presence but criticizes him behind his back is no better than a dog. His chances for elevation to higher planets are completely spoiled in this world. And then these are just some, just in terms of Lord Chaitanya's example from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. To make everyone understand that he was accepting the sinful actions of Jagai and Madai, Lord Chaitanya's body became blackish in complexion. The Lord inquired, "Why do you all look at me in this manner? How do I look?" Advaita Acharya replied, "You look like Lord Krishna." Okay. Lord Chaitanya began to laugh at Advaita Acharya's words, and all the Vaishnavas became ecstatic and expressed their joy with jubilant sounds. Lord Chaitanya said, "Begin kirtan, then this black shroud of sin will lift from my body and enter the bodies of those who criticize the devotees of the Lord." The devotees were happy to hear these words and began a loud kirtan. Okay, so these are just some, so what I thought was interesting quotes, but we can see it's very just consistent, just to tolerate, depend on Krishna, and ultimately we know that, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is the one who's actually directing everything. So everything is actually Krishna's arrangement, and that's how we can actually we can try to actually see it in that way. I was reading a book recently called Icons of Grace. So in this book, it speaks about 21 different personalities who define Indian spirituality, and I was reading about Saint Tukaram. So Tukaram, he actually took initiation and instruction from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was just always chanting the Lord's names. But in the book, but I've heard also Maharaj has told me that this pastime was actually in relation to one of Tukaram's contemporaries. But in the book it says Tukaram, but just the story is anyway that Tukaram, he was just chanting and absorbed, and this envious person, he came and he spat in Tukaram's face. So Tukaram, he went and he bathed in his favorite river. I can't remember the name of it right now, but then he came out, and he was still very much elated, smiling and happy. And then the same person, he spat in his face again, repeated, and then Tukaram, he just the same thing. He went and bathed, came out, smiling, happy and content, and then the same thing happened again. And again and again and again, and each time. So it happened exactly 108 times, and then this person, he said to Tukaram, I don't understand how can you be so happy, so content after all this. And then Tukaram, he said, actually, you're so. He could only see the good. He saw Krishna's arrangement that due to this person, he actually got the benediction of bathing in the holy river 108 times. So we can see actually that in terms of everything in relation to Krishna, it's very easier said than done. But Tukaram set a very high standard that we can ultimately see everything in relation to Krishna. And we can see in the life of Vamsidas Babaji, he used to get, victimized by the children. They would throw stones at him and things like this. And he would ask, Krishna, why are you throwing stones at me? So he was actually, he could see on that absolute platform. Uh, so there's actually just some wisdom also which I'd like to share as well. This is also from the Mahabharata. So this is Yudhishthir's conversation. So these are King Yudhishthir and Dharmaraj. So King Yudhishthir's answers to Dharmaraj. In the great epic Mahabharata, Maharaj Yudhishthir, the son of Dharmaraj, is the embodiment of all good qualities. For this reason, he is often referred to as Ajatasatru, one who has no enemies. So this is very important as well, which I know for myself and everyone that we can all try and actually cultivate. To have no enemies. In many conversation, Yudhishthira reveals his deep understanding of the Vedic scriptures and their practical applications. One day while living in exile in the forest, Yudhishthira finds that while attempting to drink water from a lake, all his brothers had been killed by a mysterious yaksha, a celestial entity. When Yudhishthira arrives, the yaksha challenges him to answer all these questions, or else face the same consequences as his brothers. These answers are like Vedic sutras, short, pithy, and practical, and deal with piety and religiosity. So the yaksha, who is really a helpful companion? Yudhishthir, steady intelligence, is a very good friend and can save one from all dangers. Yaksha, how can one acquire something very great? Yudhishthir, everything desirable can be attained by the performance of austerity. Yaksha, what is Amrita? Nectar. Milk is just like nectar. Yaksha, what is the friend bestowed upon man by the demigods? Yudhishthir, wife is such a friend. Yaksha, what is the best of happiness? Yudhishthir, true happiness comes as a result of contentment. Yaksha, why does one give in charity to brahmanas, artists, servants and kings? Yudhishthir, for religious merit, prestige, maintenance and protection respectively. Yaksha, why does one forsake friends? Yudhishthir, lust and greed drives one to forsake friends. Yaksha, what is the only food? Yudhishthir, the cow is the only food, for the milk that she produces is used to make ghee, clarified butter, which is used to perform sacrifices, pleased by which the demigods give rain, which causes the grains to grow. Therefore it should be understood that the cow is the root cause of all kinds of food. Yaksha, what is the king of knowledge? Yudhishthir, knowledge pertaining to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the king of all kinds of knowledge. Yaksha, what is ignorance? Not knowing one's constitutional duty. Yaksha, what is the best bath? Yudhishthir, that which cleanses the mind of all impurities. Yaksha, what is real charity? Real charity is protecting one from the onslaughts of material nature. Yaksha, since dharma, virtue, artha, profit, and kama, desire, are opposed to each other, how can they coexist harmoniously? Yudhishthir, these three become congenial to one another when one has a virtuous wife. Yaksha, who is condemned to everlasting hell? Yudhishthir, when one promises a brahmana charity, but upon his arrival refuses to give him charity. Yaksha, what makes one a brahmana? Birth, learning, or behavior? Yudhishthir, it is behavior alone that makes a person a Brahmin. Even as one who is expert in the four Vedas, born of Brahmin parents, but whose behavior is not proper, should be considered a Sudra. Yaksha, who is pleasing? Yudhisthira, a person who speaks in a pleasing manner. Finally, the Yaksha asked Yudhisthira 4 questions of great significance. Yaksha, who is truly happy? Yudhisthira, one who cooks his own food, in brackets, is not dependent on anyone. Second one, is not a debtor, does not spend more than he can afford, does not have to leave home to make in order to earn his livelihood, does not over-endeavor for material things, is truly happy. And Yaksha, what is the most wonderful thing? Yudhisthira, the most amazing thing is that even though every day one sees countless living entities dying, he still acts and thinks as if he will live forever. And Yaksha, what is the real path to follow in this life? Yudhisthira, the best path to follow in the footsteps. The best path is to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees, for they are the actual Mahajans, whose hearts are the sitting places of the real truths regarding religion. Yaksha, what is news? And in brackets, that is what is real situation in this material world. In the material world. Yudhisthira, the material world is like a frying pan. The sun is the fire. The day and nights are the fuel. The passing seasons are the stirring ladle, and time is cook. All living entities are being thus fried in this pan. And this is the real news of what is happening in the material world, which is a miserable place full of ignorance. So this is the conversation between Yudhisthira and Dharmaraj, or Yaksha. Yeah. So, yeah, we can see many important instructions here. We can see in terms of, I know the one which is the most wonderful thing is that we don't. We can all be guilty that we think we're going to live forever, or we live our life in such a way as well, or we try to just, we try to live forever. Many people, they will, they can be, have so many good diet, exercise, and live a long time, but what's the purpose? The purpose is that we have to keep the body and soul together. So this body is just a vehicle for the soul, and by keeping the body fit, we keep the body and soul together. And so the purpose, it should be our only actual reason to be, to be healthy and fit, should be actually so that we can serve Krishna ultimately. So that's ultimately the reason. And I've another important one. Yudhisthira, he mentions this world is like a frying pan. As we know, it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that all places in this world. All places in this world, in this material world, from Lord Brahma down to the insignificant ant, are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. So ultimately, we have to make the best of a bad bargain, which is this material world, this material body, and pursue our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. So if you could all repeat with me together, we'll chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra before Aarti begins. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, All glorious disciple devotees. Hare Krishna.
श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौरानिताय की, शीला प्रभुपाद की जय जय गौरचंद्र आरती का शोभा विष्णुपदा